Do Jack Black and Cate Blanchett deliver laughs and chills in The House with a Clock in Its Walls? Or is the time up on this kid thriller? Let's go. Premise of the story is a young boy is orphaned and he goes to live with his uncle played by Jack Black. Now Jack Black lives in this huge mansion that is just filled with all kinds of wonders, and it has a clock in its walls someplace and it just ticks and ticks and ticks. And for some reason they believe that when the countdown finally ends, when the decreasing gongs happen, when it reaches 1 or 0, something bad is really going to happen. Jack Black and Cate Blanchett together in this are pretty good, even though sometimes it feels forced. So the story is a bit basic and weak, and there's a lot of questions that I have within this. Like, how do you know that something bad is going to happen when the ticking stops? Also, there's this book that is filled with all kinds of bad things, and Jack Black tells his nephew not to touch it, not to go anywhere near it. Well, if it's so dangerous, why would you put the key that's locking it all up right next to it? Why is there this girl that kind of has an interest in the young boy, even in the story, because she doesn't add anything to it? She's just kind of there. She's not even really his friend or anything. She just has a couple of lines with him, and it doesn't move the story along at all. So those are some of the questions that I have that just don't make any sense to me as I watch this film. There are some half-hearted laughs and some cuteness that comes to this, but overall it's pretty much a forgettable film. Even in the creepiness factor, there's not much creep to it. There is some dolls that come to life, and sure, those are a little creepy, but anybody outside of the age of 6 is probably just gonna go, eh. The story is definitely a little dark. It surrounds dark magic and blood magic, and even summoning of demons. The demon, though, resembles a homeless aborigine with really long fingernails, and it's not even relevant to the story to show him. So I'm not even sure why they did that, because he's not creepy looking, he's truly just kind of weird. And not even in like a, oh gosh, I don't even want to look at you. No, it's just like, huh, all right. The CGI in the film is pretty terrible. It's like they didn't take any time to actually make it look good, or that they were totally rushed and up against a deadline and they're just like, oh, okay, we'll just slap this together and here you go. I wish the entire thing would have been more imaginative. Now, this isn't the first time that we've ever seen a house that has something in it that once unlocked or once it's triggered, it unleashes something else. It's not so much that this is ununique, it's just I wish that they would have told it in a different way, especially when they're gearing it towards children. That this film could have been, it didn't have to be super creepy, it didn't even have to be creepy at all, but you could have at least made it really fun in the adventure of finding out where the clock is or why it's ticking or any of these things. Take advantage of this, become more imaginative in it, and take us on an adventure. It just really fell short in the area of comedy, fantasy, even scariness, really. I mean, as far as even like a kid's scary movie, I'm not comparing it to an adult horror film by any means, or even like a thriller, but just if you're aiming to maybe give some kids a little, thrills and chills, it didn't really do that either. I really wanted to see more of the banter between Jack Black and Cate Blanchett. Now, what they do is fun, even though it's just these mild insults. It was just fun to hear them go back and forth, and they did it with such good timing that that's what I really enjoyed, that they were just boom, 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 back and forth without missing a beat. There's no sex or nudity. There is not really any profanity. There's some mild violence and some imagery that some kids may find a little scary. I wish that the film would have been just better overall, that it would have been more of an adventure, more of a fantasy, more of a thriller, more of a comedy. That overall, though, it just is a forgettable film. So sure, could you rent it on Redbox? Absolutely. You're out $2, not a big deal. Wait for it to come on Netflix. I'm not sure, though, dropping all your change to go to see it in the theaters with your family is probably the best idea. I give The House with a Clock in Its Walls 3 out of 5 couches. Do you have any recommendations on darker kids movies? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.